I'm Caleigh Twaddle, and I played Lucy in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Your Good Man, Charlie Brown is finding happiness in the small things. The reason I wanted to get involved with that show was I love the story of like the Peanuts gang. Like we always did that when my mom always like watched that. It was one of her favorite little kid cartoons, and I just thought it was a super cool story, and I love like all the characters. Something that drew me to the character of Lucy was that she's so different from my personality, and so it was fun to get to act like someone else and portray this like fun character who has an awesome character like transformation. She starts out like super mean to everyone and then transformed into this kind person and actually cares for Charlie Brown. I think it was pushing QCT forward because as like the closing song is talking about happiness, I think it's how you can find happiness in the little things. It doesn't have to be these crazy amazing experiences, but just the small things, finding a pencil, knowing a secret. Like you can find joy in the small things of life and just relationships and the things through day-to-day life.
My name is Ellen Taylor, and I stage managed QCT's 2022 production of MAME. Stage managing for me is, well, my family sometimes tells me I can be a little bossy. I like to say I'm just organized. With MAME specifically, I think the biggest challenge, some of the quick changes. I remember during rehearsal one time, timing how long the dancers had going off before coming back on, knowing that they had a costume change. And when I timed it, and this was in rehearsal with no costumes or anything, so just when they run off and run back on, it was like 12 seconds. When I sent out the email after rehearsal to costume and everybody, I'm like, okay, costume, they have 12 seconds off stage. And so Val, who was the costume designer for that, she says, okay, well, we're gonna have to do something other than what I had originally planned. One of the reasons I love MAME, and I probably know this better now having worked on it than I would have just from my memory of when I was a kid, it's about not judging and looking at people for who they actually are. That applies. We're all in the same world, and why are we trying to create divisions when we should be ignoring them?
My name is Alexandra Phillips, and I was Violet in Miss Electricity. I liked the idea that you would be able to travel around to a bunch of different schools. One of the fun parts about playing the character of Violet was that there was like a bunch of different like fun poses that I got to do and stuff. Since I was at my school, I was excited for all my friends to kind of see what I do at the theater. It's really fun, and it's really cool to work with other people who also enjoy doing theater, and that like you don't really need to be scared about it. I think it taught them that you need to be nice to your friends and don't like try to just boss people around. Special and like different thing about the traveling around and stuff is that we got to go like reach a lot more students than you would from just in the theater.
Hi, my name is Baylee Dedert, and I was in this year's production of Trap. I wanted to do Trap because first of all, I recognized the play, and I had been really curious in QCT, and I came and I saw MAME, and I was looking at the set, and I was like just completely mesmerized by it, and I was like, I want to be in one of these productions. So I was looking through what productions they had left and some of the audition links on the website, and it was Trap. If somebody asked me for advice on being confident on stage and like finding what makes you happy, I would tell them that I'm not doing it for somebody else's approval. I'm doing it for me and the fact that it makes me happy. And it's just like with boot camp and how our entire theme was backstage and how everybody has something going on in their life, but like that all kind of melts away when you get on the stage and you get to be this other person.
Hi, I'm Zoey Griffin. I played Pilar in QCT's production of Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde is a story of a woman who, against all odds, accomplishes something amazing. And with the love and support of her best friends, her family, she proves everyone wrong, that she is not just a dumb blonde, that she is a powerful and amazing woman. I would describe Legally Blonde in one word as electric. It was electric. I think it describes it perfectly. We got on that stage and we shined and we were with one another, and it was almost like when we got on the stage there wasn't anybody in the audience. It was just us experiencing the story at such a high volume and intensity. It was so amazing.
I am Bonnie Nytes, and I played Chris in Calendar Girls. Calendar Girls is a very humorous show that actually has a whole lot of really deep messages. What I got the most out of that show was really connecting with so many of those deep messages for myself. For me, that was one of the things that drew me to audition for the show. That idea of, there's a line in the show that says, the last phase is the most glorious. And they're talking about the sunflower, but also about people. The last phase is really quite glorious. There's so many fun, wonderful things to do at an older age. And I think it was especially empowering for older women, obviously, because the show was about these middle-aged to older women, and how we kind of tend to lose that feeling of being beautiful or sexual or anything when we get older, which is really wrong. And that show was very empowering, I think, for women in general, but for me personally, and I think for the other women in the cast too. We shared that camaraderie of feeling like it was very empowering. And in this show, everybody had stuff. I mean, the character of Chris that I played was kind of central to, we saw all her flaws and all of her issues with control and wanting to be the center of the stage, but also her deep love for her friend. And so that was very central. And Annie, the other main character, was obviously losing her husband, you know, and having all that grief, and that was her stuff. But every single character had stuff. And through the show, we experienced with them on personal levels, you know, that we all go through things. And it's so important that we remember that about each other as we journey through life, that we're all carrying stuff. And it's so powerful to help each other with that stuff, which I think is what happened in the show.
I'm Randy Wolfmeyer, and I played the role of George Buckman, and I also made puppets for the show. FLORA and Ulysses was just very heartwarming. You know, it was, especially by the end of it, you know, just this story that we just kind of all really got into, and like the characters, and like it just, you know, the family dynamics and all that stuff. It just, everybody kind of felt it at the end. I mean, it was definitely, you know, different in the sense that, you know, like working with the kids and everything. But I mean, I think it was actually a lot of like, you know, a lot of learning from each other. Like the kids that like, you know, look up to us and like follow our cues a lot of times, but at the same time, like, you know, being able to work with the kids and seeing their enthusiasm and energy for, you know, just being out there and doing this, and like, you know, being able to play off of that. There's some like very real family moments in that show, like, you know, and you know, that like we could all connect to.
I'm Jayden Dreyer, and I am Laura Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie. What made me so interested in Little House on the Prairie was that my sister and I have watched the TV show since we were little kids. And we both read all of the books, like we have all of the books at home, and it's just always been something that we did together. And the show has always been something that I always found really touching, like you're laughing or crying in every episode, and then obviously in the books you're crying along with whatever is going on in the story at the time. And I saw that we were doing the show, and I didn't even realize that it was a musical. I was shocked that it was a musical, but I was excited, and I was like, you know, I really want to do that. The challenge for me for this show has just been trying to honor Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I've never played someone who was a real person. For me, from the beginning, it was always just trying to do right by her and trying to just give it my all, because I know that's what she would do and that's what she would want. And that's the only way that her story can be told, is by giving 100%.
We all have these emotions that a lot of times we are embarrassed to share, or we feel like, you know, people will judge us. But when we're watching a show, we can just kind of, or when we're in a show, we can just let that all out, you know, and feel those emotions. I think that's a really powerful tool in theater.